Greetings everybody, my name is Captain Honorseeker and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the ZBarb, also known as the Support Barb for groups. Alright, you have several ways to build your ZBarb. The best way to build your ZBarb, especially for an 4-man, is with the Raekor set. We will go over that one in detail in like a few moments, but you can also have the one with the savages and 2 pieces of savages and 4 pieces of the Raekor. We will go over both setups for 4-man. Without further ado, let's get into the build. So for this one we go first into the 6 Raekor piece. What does that mean? You get 6 pieces of the Raekor, all 6 of them. The only 6 that you can have. Basically, you just wear the entire build. We go over the gear. We go over the jewelry and the gems that you have to use. And we also go over the cube. Like, there are a few things that you can swap over. But if you make this build, you're definitely gonna have a good ZBarb. We also go over the skills and the passives that you use. So yeah, we go over everything. For both setups, like the one with the savages and the one for the full Raekor set. Alright, so what does that mean? Basically, you as a support barb, or also known as a ZBarb, you are, at least in the 4-man group, you are the leader of the group. If you say, I want to be you on that place, they have to be on that place. If you say, like, do not take a specific pylon, the ZDH must not take that specific pylon. And by that specific pylon, actually mean speed. A speed pylon in high GRs for a ZBarb is very, very annoying. You don't want to have a speed pylon clicked in the entire run. The only moment you actually want to have a speed pylon clicked is when you A, around 80%, B, when the speed pylon spawns on the next floor close to the exit, close to the floor entrance, then the ZBarb can go back to the previous floor, and then you can actually have the ZDH click it. Wait for the ZBarb has to wait on the ZDH to give him confirmation that the pylon has been clicked. So at the moment the ZBarb goes back to the group, that he does not have the effect of the speed pylon. Alright. Another option that you can clear the speed pylon is when you're like 80% or 85% on the clear. Like in the Greater Rift, the clear 80%, that's where you have to, that's when you actually can click the speed pylon as well, where the ZBarb has not much to do anymore. Another option for the speed pylon to be clicked is at 100%, clicked by anybody except the ZDH. So what does that mean? Basically, let me go into paint for that one. Alright, so we have 2 situations here. One, pylon is at 70%. Well, around 70 to 80%. So let's say this one is 75 to 80%. And this one is like 40-ish. So the yellow line there, that's our timer. That's the time that we're trying to beat. And the green one is the actual progress bar. Alright. Now, both situations are different. Option 1 is you take the pylon and go further from that, because mobs will be everywhere here and here and here and here. might have another pylon up here. So what you do here is like you come in, you grab the speed pylon. Doesn't matter because the barb will set you up here, so everything can come to this spot. Right, so you take that pylon. This is option 1. Option 2, on the other hand, is everybody enters. Like you have a wizard, a ZDH, another wizard, and a barb. And the ZDH scouts ahead. He sees the speed pylon, which reveals the speed pylon for everybody. The ZBarb goes out again, and he waits until he gets the clear from the ZDH that the pylon has been taken. Now, when that pylon has been taken, the ZBarb comes back in, runs to the mobs, and drags them to like the very first crossroad. Everything is set up there, and he basically can kill them. That's the understanding of the speed pylon. All the other pylons are taken when the barb says take it. Alright, so we have the speed pylon out of the way. So the speed pylon is never been taken unless at the end of the rift, close to the end of the rift, or the speed pylon is close to the entrance of the floor so that the ZBarb can go back. Alright, so let's go into the gear. Alright, so for weapons you use the Equine Fury and you add cooldown to it. If there's no standard cooldown on it, you roll cooldown on it. For an In-geom, you also use the cooldown is not rolled on it instantly. And you use the gem, the Royal Flawless Amethyst, which gives you 28,000 life per hit. So these combined is 56,000 life combined. Alright. For the bracers, you're gonna use the strong arm bracers. You're not gonna do anything else, you're just gonna use the strong arm braces, and you try to get his legendary power as high as possible. Like knockbacks suffer 30% is the maximum. Preferably close to 30. No, you need to have 30. For the gear itself, Raekor's wraps, strength, attack speed, armor, and reduce cooldown. Try to get that 8%. That 8% is gonna help you massively. You want to be around 60% cooldown. So the higher your cooldown on your gear that you have, the better for yourself. For the shoulder pieces, strength, resist, cooldown again, and resource cost reduction. Because a ZBarb does not benefit from area damage or another type of damage that can be rolled on there. You need to have reduced cooldown and reduce your resource. Strength and resist needs to be in there on there as well. For your helmet, strength, vitality, and 15% life. The more life you have, the longer you stay alive. Logical, right? Right. But I see a lot of people not doing that. So you need to have 15% life on your helmet to have a bigger health pool. Your torso or your chest piece, strength, vitality, and reduce damage from elites. The highest that you can get is 11%. Go for that 11%. That 11% is important. And you use the Royal Flawless Diamond for the resist to all elements. For your helmet, you use the Royal Flawless Diamond as well to reduce 12.5% cooldown on top of all the cooldown that you have on your gear. For your pants, strength, preferably vitality. I couldn't get vitality on here. So strength, vitality, armor is perfect. If you do not have a chance to roll vitality on there, strength, armor, and try to get regenerates X amount of time, X amount life per second. So for your pants, you can get two possibilities. Preferably, the one that you need is strength, vitality, and armor. Now, if for some weird reason you cannot get vitality on there or not armor on there, you go for strength, armor, regenerates X amount life per second. Again, put the Royal Flawless Diamond into the sockets for more resist to wall elements. For your boots, you go for strength, vitality, armor, and movement speed. The faster the ZBarb can run, the faster you're gonna be able to clear it. For your belt, you have two options. You have the Pride of Cassius, or you have Shilneck's chain. Both are good if you have the maximum legendary power on it. For Shilneck's chain, using Warcry increase the movement speed for you and all allies affected by 40% for 10 seconds. For the Pride of Cassius, increase the duration of Ignore Pain by 6 seconds. Those 6 seconds are important. They are super important, and they actually need to be 6%. Not 5, not 3, not 1, no, 6. And the stats that you want to have on there is strength, vitality, all resist, 15% life. 15% life needs to be rolled on almost every single belt. Alright, for your jewelry, again, you have a few options here. You can have your Band of Might as a ring that you wear, or your Zodiac as a ring of you wear. So the Band of Might and the Zodiac can be switched between the cube and you wearing it. Now, if you run with the Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac, you have to roll a socket on it. You are going to reroll the critical hit damage or chance what's on there, and you roll a socket for it so that you keep having attack speed, reduce cooldown of all skills, again maximum 8%, reduce all resource costs by 6. It's resource cost. At one point you're not gonna run out of resource costs anymore. But also try to get it as high as possible. The gem, we're going over the gems when we did all the gear. The Oculus Ring. Minus roll with vitality, 15% life and cooldown. You can have strength on there. Is it a necessary thing? No. Is it very helpful? Yes. We have a few options here again, but I want you to get that cooldown on there. Like, the more cooldown you have, the better it is for all your skills to be almost cast constantly. Chances to create an area of focus power on killing a monster, damage is increased by 77% while standing in the area. The maximum is 85. I still haven't found a better one yet. So you want to get around 80 or higher. For your Flavor of Time, you want to have that 18% life on there. The highest life percentage that you can get, roll it on Flavor of Time. You want to have cooldown on it, and preferably resource cost. I picked this one up in the beginning of the season. I never changed it. So that when the ZDH click a pylon, the effect for you and the ZDH lasts longer. So if you click on a 30 seconds power pylon for the ZBarb and the ZDH, that becomes a minute. If you click a shield pylon for the barb and the DH, that's gonna be 2 minutes instead of a minute. Legendary gems. What do you want as your legendary gems? Gem of Ephesius Toxin. Poison all enemies hit for 3250% weapon damage over 10 seconds. You don't want to max out that gem. That gem at 25 is perfect and you don't need to max it out. If you unlock the rank 25, all enemies you're poison take 10% increased damage from all sources and deal 10% less damage. So for yourself, it's gonna be more survivability, but also for your party members. Esoteric Alternation. That one you want to reach the maximum. If you're gonna use that gem, it needs to be rank 100. Gain 60% non-physical damage reduction. While below 50%, your resistance to cold, fire, lightning, poison, and arcane are increased by 75%. Again, this one gives you more survivability. Gogok of Swiftness. Rank maximum 150. Gain swiftness with every attack, increasing your attack speed by 1% and dodge by 2% for 4 seconds. This effect stacks up to 15 times. So that means at one point you're gonna have 30% dodge. Gain 1% cooldown reduction per stack of swiftness. So 15 adds 15% more cooldown towards your cooldown reduction. What does that mean? At one point you're gonna run around with maximum 75% cooldown, which is perfect. For the cube, you're gonna have the Executioner in your cube. Attacks will slay enemies with less than 10 health. So if an elite is like below 10% and you hit him with your spear or with your stomp or whatever, he will die. Again, Shield and Chain, depending on your Pride of Cassius, it's either going to be Pride of Cassius in your cube or Shield. In my case, it was Shield because my Pride of Cassius rolled with 6% longer duration for Ignore Pain. Using Warcry, increase the movement speed for you and allies affected by 40% for 10 seconds. For your ring, as said, you can have either Obsidian Ring on the Zodiac or Band of Might, depending on the ring that you want and how your Band of Might looks. That 80% is important. If your Band of Might is lower than 80%, don't even bother with it. Just put it in your cube and go searching for the Ring of the Zodiac to wear. After casting Furious Charge, Ground Stomp, or Leap, take 80% reduced damage for 8 seconds. Alright, that's pretty straightforward, I think. That's how the Raekor set is built with all the stats. Furious Charge, Merciless Assault. Cost 1 charge, generate 15 fury. Rush forward, knocking back and dealing 600% weapon damage to enemies along your path. Rush forward, knocking back. So your strong arms bracers are already in play. You hit them like with 30 knockback. Recharge time should do by 2 seconds for every enemy hit. This effect can reduce the recharge time by up to 10 seconds. Ancient Spear, Rage Flip. Cost 25 fury. Throw a chain spear that pierces enemies for 500% weapon damage, briefly slows them by 60% for 1 second, and throws them all behind you. So what does that mean? Basically a ZBarb also walks backwards. ZBarb, so the ZBarb always faces towards the group. So if he pulls stuff from here, or she, so you're facing that way, so everything you pull here ends up here. So if you're facing that way, everything that's here will end up here. Everything here will end up here. So as a ZBarb, you're the one who actually tells everybody where to position the moment you actually throw your spear, that they can legit stay where they are and actually do what they need to do. And that is where your ZDH, your wizard, and your other wizard actually starts damaging everything. Basically what you try to do is like, you give everybody ignore pain. You can rush forward, make another group already ready for them, rush back, give them ignore pain, and then continue forward. And that's what the ZBarb constantly does. The ZBarb constantly walks forward, a little bit backwards, forward, a little bit backwards, forward, set up a pool, forward, set up a pool. All right. Ground Stomp Wrenching Smash generates 15 Fury, cooldown 12 seconds. Smash the ground, pulling all enemies within 24 yards to you, then stun them for 4 seconds. So what does that mean is I have like a huge amount of mobs around me. You click Ground Stomp, everything in this area is pixelated on me. Why is that important? So that your wizards, or whatever you're running with, can hit this particular spot. If you run with 2 wizards this season and they're running Star Pact, this will also highly increase their arcane regeneration. Ignore Pain, cooldown 30 seconds. Pride of Cassius makes it 24. Reduce all damage taken by 50% and gain immunity to all control impairing effects for 5 seconds. Allies within 50 yards also gain 25% damage reduction and immunity to control impairing effects for 5 seconds. So what does that mean? No jailing, no vortex whatsoever. Threatening Shout Falter generates 15 Fury, cooldown 10 seconds. Shout with great ferocity, causing enemies within 25 yards to falter and take 25% increased damage from all sources for 6 seconds. So if you do that, like, one of the best moments to actually do that, right, is, let me get a new page. Jesus Christ. So let's say this is the barb. These are all the monsters around it. The barb used Ground Stomp. So he used his stomp. So he pixelates everything to this spot. At the meantime, your wizards are shooting their meteors towards it. And when you pixelate them, you want to use your threatening shout. So you shout, which give them 25% increased damage for your wizards. So the bigger your group and you shout after they pixelate it, so you actually stomp, shout, your wizards are throwing their meteors on them, they will do a huge amount of damage. Warcry Veterans Warning. Generate 20 Fury, Cooldown 20 seconds. Unleash a rallying cry to increase armor for all you and all allies within 100 yards by 20% for 2 minutes. Increase the dodge chance by 30% while affected by Warcry. What do you do? When you go into a rift, you press Threatening Shout so that everybody already has a 2-minute shouting. You as a barb run forward. Make sure that your fury is full. You come across, you throw your spear, because the more fury you have, your spear is generated. You stomp, use your Ignore Pain, and shout again. Everything that's like in here, like this little spot here, is pixelated and take that 25% damage. There will be a showcase at the end of this video, like with me doing that in some great rifts. Briefly explain what we're doing there. So sit tight. This is it for the Raekor full set. Your spear, you will also see that the spear that I'm using splits in 5. That is where the full set of the Raekor set comes in. The 6th set, hitting enemies with Furious Charge or Weapon Throw increase the damage of your next Ancient Spear by 5500% and causes it to release multiple spears from its target. This effect stacks and each spear thrown consumes a maximum of 5 stacks. So your Furious Charge has a chance to like increase to like 100. And then each spear you throw multiplies by 5. So you throw one, and then that one, the moment you hit a mob, that one will split up into 5 and will pull mobs towards you. Let's get into the 2-piece Savage and 4-piece Raekor. So for the 2-piece Savage and the 4-piece Raekor, you're gonna use different weapons as well. Most of the gear for the Raekor remains the same. Like the only thing that's gonna change is your gloves and your shoulders. So I'm only gonna go over the actual Savage pieces because your helmet, chest piece, belt, pants, boots, Ring of the Zodiac, Oculus Ring, Strong Arm Bracers, and your Flavor of Time, and your Legendary Gems remains the same. And also your skills remains the same. So what we're gonna cover only in this particular section is the Savage pieces and the weapons that you're gonna use. Alright, so to begin with the weapons, you use the Slender and the Little Rogue. Again, you want to have cooldown on it. The more cooldown, the better for you. Little Rogue also 10% cooldown. For the other stats, it doesn't really matter, but you want to have that cooldown on there. You need to have, again, that's at least close to 60% cooldown. For your gloves, Strength or Vitality generates life per second and cooldown reduction 8%. Because of running the 2 pieces of the Horde of the 9 Savages, you're gonna have double the effectiveness of shouts. You deal double damage to feared, frozen, or stunned enemies. You stun enemies with your Furious Charge and with your Stomp. For your shoulders, Strength, all resist, you need to have resource cost reduction on it. I couldn't roll it on, so we went for automatically cooldown because once again your cooldown is important. For your passive skills, we didn't cover that on the Raekor, so we're gonna go over those now. Inspiring Presence. The duration of your shouts is doubled. After using a shout, you and all allies within 100 yards regenerate 3% of maximum life per second for 2 minutes. Your shouts are Battle Rage, Threatening Shout, and Warcry. You only gonna use Threatening Shout and Warcry. Nurse or Steel. Fatal damage instead reduces you to 15% life for 3 seconds afterwards. You take 95% reduced damage or are immune to all control impairing effects. This effect may occur every 60 seconds. So this is your sheet death. If you get hit massively, that one's gonna pop up and you have like another minute before this one is active again. If this one becomes active again and you take fatal damage, you do not die. If you get fatal damage once again in a period of between the moment it activates and the 60 seconds afterwards, so it comes back up, you have a potential way to die. So you need to be mindful of that and make sure you do not die. Pound of Flesh. When you are healed by a health globe, gain 2% life regeneration per second and 4% increased movement speed for 15 seconds. This bonus stacks up to 5 times. So you pick up an orb, you get more life generation, and you increase your movement speed. Relentless. Why below 35% life? All skill costs 50% less fury. Life per fury spent is doubled and all damage taken is reduced by 50%. Once again, this is a passive that gives you more survivability. So now we went over the gear, I will give you a little showcase of both setups, like with the Savages and with the actual Raekor. You're gonna see that the Raekor one is the best option. Alright guys, so here you can see that I try to stack up my Furious Charge to give my spear the momentum to actually have the chance to multiply. So if you do not have your Furious Charge up, you will not multiply your spears. Each spear can multiply in 5, so it takes 5 stacks to at least multiply it. Here you can see that perfectly in position, like when I make this like big group, like my spear actually multiplies a couple of times. Here you walk in, use your stump, pixelate everything, and your wizards take over everything. So here we see the 2-piece Savage and the 4-piece Raekor actually in action, and you will see that my spear only pulls 1 mob. So to make big pulls with this setup, you're gonna need more time. You just need more time on this one. This is not as effective as with the Raekor full set. So keep that in mind if you want to play the 2-piece Savage and the 4-piece Raekor, that you actually need more time to make up a big pull that you can actually pixelate with your Grand Stump, so that your wizard has multiple time to actually hit the monsters.